Guys, it's Miss Smith again. We're going to be doing sequences tonight. Now, yesterday you should have already started a little bit on sequencing, so this should kind of be just a little bit more than what we did today. Okay, what are the next three terms in each sequence? Okay, what's another word for sequence? Okay, maybe here, let me get my pen, I forgot. Okay, what's another word for sequence? Okay, we already talked about this, it's pattern. Okay, so a pattern or a sequence mean the same thing. Okay, so what's the pattern here? What do you think the pattern is here? Okay, so maybe 6 plus 6 to get to 12. Okay, and then 12 plus 6 to get to 18. 18 plus 6 to get to 24. Okay, 24 plus 6 would be 30. Oh, goodness gracious. Would be 30. Okay, plus 6, 36, and so on. Okay, what about this one? Okay, very good. It's going by fives, or down by fives. So this would be minus 5 would get to 25, minus 5 would get to 20, and so forth. So we have 15, 10, and 5. Okay, easy patterns. All right, so these are called arithmetic sequence. Okay, it's a pattern using addition or subtraction. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is a position of a term. Okay, what's your position in football? Are you the quarterback? Are you the running back? Okay, in basketball now we have point guards and guards and all sorts of things. So a position, you know what this word means. So we're going to try to find the position of each number here. Okay, so just stay with me. I know it's kind of confusing right now, but it will all come together in the end. Okay, so position of a term is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So n is just saying it goes on for a while. Okay, so n can be replaced with any number because it's a variable. Okay, so we call this the nth term. Okay, because we can replace it with anything. That's why we call it a variable. Okay, that's why it's a letter. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is value. Okay, ooh, my goodness. Sorry. Okay, how much, what's the value of a diamond? What's the value, or it's a lot, right? So what's the value of, dirt? Nothing, right? So the value depends on how much, and we're going to be talking about numbers. Okay, guys, I want you to know it's easy as 1, 2, 3. All we're doing is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're replacing. Okay, so we're going to substitute or replace the n. Okay, remember n is a variable, so we can replace it with any number in the world. Okay, so n means variable. In the equation with 1 is for the first term. We would replace 2 if we want the second term, 3 if we want the third term, and 50 if we want the 50th term. So any number is talking about the term we want. Okay, where you set up a position value chart. Okay, this is what your position value chart will look every single time. Now the reason I put this in purple is because this is what we're going to be replacing let's go ahead and fill this in, our rule. Okay, every time you see a sequence it has a rule. Okay, so this right here is going to change every single time. That is why it's in a different color. But our position value charts, every time before we even put our rule in, is going to look like this. Okay, it's called a PV chart. All right, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here. Okay, so every time it's going to be P, V, rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now of course we're going to do a little bit of definition, so we're going to say, remember, position is called the nth term. Okay, and what do you think V stands for? We just did it in our vocab. Oops. Okay, value. Okay, this is where our answers are going to be. We want to know how much, right? We just talked about value, how much. So this is where our answers will be. Okay, now here's how you do this. You see this variable? It can be anything in the world. If I want the first term, I'm going to replace n with 1. So remember, a variable next to a letter means what? Very good, multiplication. So we're doing 2 times n plus 3 for this rule I'm giving you. So what's 2 times 1 plus 3? Okay, order of operations. That means multiplication goes first, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 would be 5. So my first term is 5 in this sequence. Okay, let's do the next one. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 is going to be my second term. Okay, let's do the next one. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3 would be 9. This is my third term. Notice we replace 3 for the third term. Okay, 2 times 4 plus 3. Okay, 2 times 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11. My next one is 11. This is my fourth term because we replaced 4. 2 times, oops, oh my goodness, sorry guys. 2 times 5, 10, plus 3 would be 13. Oh my goodness, I keep doing that, sorry. This would be 13, which is my fifth term. Okay, so let me just show you. I'm going to go kind of slow on this one. I know I'm going slow, but let me just show you. I'm going to highlight where we replaced it. We replaced 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to get our first 5 terms. That's where we replaced n, okay, because it can be anything. So our values, and if you have answer choices, our values would look like this. It would be a list. It would be a sequence, what I showed you on the very first thing we did on this page. Okay, 5 would be my first number, then 7, 9, 11, and 13. Okay, so this would be my values for this rule. Okay, let's do the next one. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Okay, which sequence follows the rule, we just did this one, the rule 2n plus 3, which represents the position of a term in a sequence. Okay, how confusing is that? They try to make these questions so hard. Okay, which sequence follows the rule 2 times n plus 3, where n represents the position of a term in a sequence? Ugh, that just sounds hard, right? But look what we just did. It's really easy. They're just asking you what's the first 3 terms. So in other words, what are the first 3 terms? Okay, we found the first 5, but they're just asking what are the first 3 terms. Okay, this is when we just did this. We set up a position value chart. The reason I did that first is because I wanted you to know this question looks really hard and it's really not that hard. Okay, set up a position value chart, okay, which is a position, what we just did. And this is going to be more like what ours is going to look like because that other one was already set up and it was really pretty. But this is what you're going to do if you don't already have the chart there. Okay, so position value chart, we're substituting, if I can spell, substitute position for x. Okay, so remember, I'm going to go back here again. What do we put in our position place for our nth term? Okay, easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, and then we substitute in the middle to get our answers. Okay, like I said, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to set up what every time this is what it's going to look like. Okay, I gave you a rule and we just figured it out, so that would go right here. But this is what it's going to look like every single time before you even start anything. Okay, so what is the 22nd term? Okay, what's the 22nd term? But Ms. Smith, we only went to 5. Are you going to go 5, 6, 7, and replace all the way to 22? No, it's easy as just replacing 22 in it. Okay, so I'm going to get my highlighter. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to n right here. I'm going to replace 22 where n is. Okay, so here we go. So what is 2 times 22 plus 3? Okay, order of operations. 2 times 22 is 44 plus 3. Oh my goodness. Plus 3 is 47. So the 22nd term for this rule is 47. Just replace it. Okay? All right. Bear with me. I know this is kind of long. Okay, number 2. We only have 3, so just bear with me. Okay, what if a question has a position value chart already made? So I'm asking you a question from a position value chart that they made. Okay? That the question made. So let me get my notes. Which rule can be used to find the value of the nth term in the sequence below, where n represents the position of the value of the term? Again, these questions, I don't know why they make them so hard. But all it's asking is, here are my answer choices. Is it 6n? Is it n plus 5? This one really means, you should know this, it's a fraction, is n divided by 3. or is it 4 times n plus 2? Okay, here's my answer choices. Now, I already set these up for you, which you would have to do this part, setting up these tables. But I went ahead, since it's notes, I set it up for you. One thing we do need to figure out is, what am I putting in my positions? Okay, positions are just numbers. Just like football, your position is a quarterback. So I have 1, 2, 3. Remember, easy is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 on every single one of these. Okay? Now, when we look at this, our equation for this answer choice, we're going to see if it matches our values. Okay? So we want to match a position value chart that looks exactly like this in this area, because I want to find the first, second, and third term that match our rule. So in this case, the rule is going to go right in the middle, so this is 6n. Remember, what does a variable next to a number mean? Very good. 6 times n. Oops. Okay, now I want to see if these answers match this. Okay, so 6 times 1 is 6. This is my first term. Okay, 6 times 2 is what? Okay, that's 12. Does that match this 10 over here? No, so this is not my right answer. Okay, notice how I stopped when I was wrong. Okay, so I'm stopping here because I'm wrong. Okay, let's do the next one. N plus 5 is my rule, and I'm going to get my values for the rule n plus 5 using my positions. Okay, 1 plus 5 is 6. Okay, that matches. 2 plus 5 is 7. Does that match? 10? Nope. Just stop when you're wrong. Okay, so n plus 5 is not my right, not my right rule. Okay, what about n divided by 3? Okay, now this one tricks people all the time. Okay, n over 3 looks really hard because, of course, fractions look tough, but they're really not. Okay, I'm going to move my first term over here because I don't have enough room. Okay, I'm going to replace 1 where n is, or substitute. So I'm going to replace 1 over 3, so 1/3. I'm going to replace 2 where n is. My next term would be 2/3. 3 would be 3/3. Now, the reason I put this one in here, it does not look anything like our first term. It's 6, and I got 1/3. So no, that's not right, but I wanted you to see how to work these kinds of problems. So obviously, that one is definitely not right. Okay, now 4n plus 2. Ooh, I wonder if this is right. Okay, yes, it's probably the right, or it is the right one. Okay, so here's my rule. Okay, 4 times n plus 2. Got to remember this means multiply. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 would give me my first one. Okay, it matches. Okay, 4 times 2. Okay, I replaced 2 with n, or substituted, plus 2. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. Does that match? Yes, that matches the 10. So 4 times 3 plus 2, let's see if that gives me 14. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So notice how this matches. Okay, so this is my correct answer. This would be my answer here if I had a problem like this, okay? All right, here we go. Now, the things I just kept saying, keep substituting until you are wrong. Then stop. Notice how I stopped on the second term if it didn't match my chart, okay? Now, the equation, the rule needs to work for all terms, okay? Notice how some of them work for the first term, but I went down to, the second term and third term and they didn't work. It has to work for all terms, okay? The answer D worked for every single term. If I replaced 5, it would have been 22, okay? Okay, here we go. Last one. Bear with me. Okay, which description, what does description mean? Okay, we're describing in words something. Okay, which description shows the relationship between a term and n? Okay, notice how we're using the variable n a lot, not x. We're using n a lot. Okay, which description shows the relationship between a term and n and its position in sequence? Okay, I'm showing you 3 ways you can see these questions. This is the last way and the last one. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, the question gives me a position value chart. Okay, now what I need to do is figure out which rule. Okay, I'm going to go back to this one. Notice how these rules were numbers and letters, okay? Now, this is the exact same type of question, but what are my answer choices like? Okay, they're in words. Notice how it says which description. So that means that these are describing it, and we have to put it into a letter and a number, some type of way that we know what we're doing here. Okay, so multiply n by 2, then add 1. What does that mean? Okay, multiply n times 2. Okay, so I'm multiplying 2 times n, then add 1. Does this look something that's familiar? Yeah. And then you replace 1, 2, 3 in a position value chart to see if you get these values, okay? And notice how this chart is going horizontal. And this chart, these charts, were going vertical. That means up and down, okay? So you could see charts either way. All right, now raise n to the second power, then add 2, okay? Remember, raise n to the second power, that's kind of like saying 3 squared, which means 9, okay? So n times itself, so n times n would be another way to say this. Then add 2, okay? So 2 squared plus 2 would be how we would say this, okay? And then we can start replacing with position value charts, okay? Multiply n by 4, so just like this one, it would be 4 times n, and then subtract 1. Okay, and then this would be my rule to see if it matches these values, okay? Multiply n by 8. So 8 times n, subtract 5. Okay? So then this is another way to see it. You're going to have to do position value charts and all these to see if it matches that. And that's what I want you to do right now, is make a position value chart for each of these, and we're going to check it in class tomorrow. So I'm going to see which answer you got for the last one, okay? Okay, y'all are great. I know this video is long. Please scroll down now and answer the questions and submit. Y'all know how this works. Class cannot function unless you watch this, because tomorrow we're going to be working on it. If you don't submit, then I don't know you watched, okay? Thank you so much. It's been really long, but thank y'all for paying attention. See you tomorrow. Bye.